the struggle always continues. Either rain, shine, or the end of the world, the struggle will always continue. And regardless of if one ends up on the sidelines wondering what went wrong or up on stage receiving all the accolades, said individual will always face the choice of lacing up one's boots or to move on when the next challenge comes their way. Greetings and welcome to Checkpoint Gaming. With this episode, we will be going over how to play the game Stadium, a Sport Odyssey. The year is 47 New Era, and after a series of natural disasters that devastated the world and is known as God's departure, humanity has managed to re-establish society that is divided into regions governed by different corporatocracies who hold different ideas on how to reshape the future. And despite these given societies being isolated from one another, they all covet the same highly efficient energy source known as Ethereum, which is better known as E-cells. The only source of E-cells and the advanced formulas known as outliner grids are found on the grand vessel found amongst the clouds that is simply known as Stadium. When this immense craft awakened and emerged from the Bermuda Triangle, it brought about Armageddon that manifested itself in a variety of different disasters, which included extreme weather, earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, tornadoes, disease, famine, and plagues. Although countless books and prophecies were written by mystics, oracles, seers, soothsayers, and fortune-tellers on how they thought the world was going to end, it was the appearance of this unpredicted vessel that brought about these geological and ecological disasters. One condition that was a major part of the human experience was our ignorance, and it was through the threat of death that made us feel the most alive. And the emergence of Stadium is what redefined the meaning of life and death, along with what truly meant to be human. And since it tests the best humanity has to offer, humanity had to ready itself for the old saying, "Life is not a game," has been proven wrong. With Stadium, a Sport Odyssey, which we'll be simply referring to as Stadium from now on, is a collectible card game and is based upon gridiron football and is played out upon a game board. It is played between two players who rely upon their given teams and their respective decks to engage in bluffing, perform resource management, and to engage in deduction in order for them to achieve victory within this futuristic science fiction setting. And though each player wants to outthink, outlast, and outscore their opponent, the real challenge is to take control of Stadium itself. It is only then that the player will obtain countless victories and become a legend. With Stadium, it was designed by Dameron Vaughn, published by H2I Studios, and comes with one rulebook, one game board, one ball standee, one ball stand, 24 offense play cards, 24 defense play cards, 12 momentum tokens, 2 first down marker chits, 1 new Freedom Core deck, 1 Landshark Core deck, and 2 team reference cards in the core game box. But if going with the Deluxe box, first, fancy you in your luxury Sky box where you are rubbing elbows with the E-suite of the in-universe corporations, and second, it comes with 1 binary tool shop expansion mat, 10 ultimate gift cards, and 10 Ethereum cubes alongside the base components. And with the Kickstarter exclusives, they consist of 5 6-sided custom dice, 1 scoreboard, 4 score counter cubes, and 4 timeout counter cubes. With the game rules, we'll be using version 1.0 for this episode. During setup, the players, who are known as coaches, will determine who will be playing as the home team and who will be playing as the visiting team. Since the coaches will tend to have greater comfort laying their cards out going from right to left, each coach would prefer to be playing as the home team. To help keep things fair, a coin flip is to be done, which is to occur at the start of the game or over time. With the coach who isn't flipping the coin, they're to call either heads or tails while the coin is in the air. Since trained individuals are able to manipulate the outcome of coin flips, calling the result mid-air by the other coach is a means of ensuring fairness. If the coin toss favors the non-flipping coach, then they will get to decide which side of the game board they would like to play upon. Otherwise, the coin-flipping coach will decide. It is worth noting that, like actual gridiron football, the team that starts the first half of the game on defense will be the receiving team after halftime, and the coach who is on defense is to start the drop phase. Regarding the ball marker, its green side will always face the offensive coach. From there, the game board is placed between the coaches in the designated orientation. With the game board, it possesses a field printed upon it that consists of 22 horizontal zones running across the width of the field along with a cipher post found in each end zone. From there, each coach will select which deck they wish to use by going with either the pre-constructed team-themed deck that comes with the base game or their given custom-built deck that they personalized for their given preferences or style of play. With that said, although customization is able to occur, if both players are sharing cards from the same box set, then no customization is to occur. This is because with the cards found in the core set, they allow for 2 players to engage in a balanced game right out of the box. If playing a friendly game, or just starting out, the pre-constructed decks are recommended. But for tournaments and competitive play, then customized decks are to be used. Since we like building our own decks in games that allow it, we at Checkpoint Gaming are favoring that of deck customization. When building your custom deck for Stadium, there are 5 rules that need to be followed. First, the pull decks and the playbooks can't possess more than 1 copy of any given card. Second, the playbooks of both coaches will have to possess the same amount of cards, with 12 representing the minimum amount for a standard game. So it sounds like player agreement or tournament guidelines need to be implemented before play begins as a means of ensuring equal-sized playbooks. Third, the pull decks will have to possess a minimum of 30 cards and a maximum of 40. Fourth, since the pull decks are team-based, it means that all team cards will have to be part of the same team. So these pull decks will have to be all Land Shark, all New Freedom, or all Vixens. And fifth, a pull deck can't have more than 3 free agents, which are known as Anarchs in the game, found in their pull decks. The exception to this will have to do with the Vixens, who can't have any Anarch players on their team. From there, each coach will shuffle their given deck, followed by placing said deck face down next to the board and to their right. This represents the coach's pull deck. Unlike that of the pull deck, the play cards are divided into the offense deck and the defense deck, which are known collectively as the playbooks. With the offense plays, their names are printed in green on both the front and back of their respective cards, while the defensive plays have this information printed in red. At the start of the game, each coach will possess the playbooks for their respective teams. With their placement, they're done face down to the left of the game board, opposite of their given pull deck. With the scoreboard card, it is to be placed vertically on either side of the game board and is used to keep track of the coach's scores, timeouts, and any remaining time in the game. When it comes to the counter cubes, they're used in conjunction with either the scoreboard and/or other game board extensions and are placed upon the beginning points during the setup process. It is worth noting that the game board extensions come with the Deluxe Core box, as well as being able to be bought separately. Regarding momentum, it represents the main resource of the game that can be used to purchase upgrades, activate certain abilities, or to convert the stadium's field. Momentum points are represented by momentum tokens and will range in value based upon what is printed upon said tokens. During setup, 10 points worth of momentum tokens are placed next to the game board and is known as the momentum bank, with any spent momentum being placed here. With any momentum that a coach obtains, it will come from the bank whenever possible. But if the bank ever becomes depleted, not unlike that of Lincoln Savings and Loan in 1989 or the finance industry as a whole in 1929, then momentum is to come from the other coach. With the ball marker, it represents the ball, of course, as it makes its way down the field. During setup, it is to be inserted into its stand, followed by being placed off to one side, where it will stay until it is dropped onto the field. With the green side of the marker, it will always face the offensive coach, while the red side will always face the defensive coach. When it comes to that of the first down markers, they are placed alongside the ball marker when not on the field, and will only enter the game once the ball has been put into play. When it comes to the red timeout cubes, each coach starts off with 2 of them, with one of them being removed whenever a timeout is used. If a coach calls for a timeout, then they are able to do one of the following. First, return any number of cards found in their hand to the bottom of the pull deck and draw a set amount back to their hand. Second, return their play card found face down upon the game board back to their playbook. And third, return their player cards found face down upon the game board back to their hand. After a timeout is called, the opposing coach will have the option of going through the same process, but without using a timeout cube. But when using their given timeout, the opposing coach can only return and pull cards from their pull deck that is equal to the cards the timeout initiating coach returned and pulled from their own pull deck. It is worth noting that timeouts can't be used by the defending player during a given hike phase turn. When it comes to that of the game cards, they consist of 5 base types: play, player, upgrade, convert, and tactical. When it comes to that of the play cards, they describe team movement and outcomes when it comes to that of advancing the ball, which is done by the offensive coach, or preventing ball advancement, which is done by the defensive coach. When on offense, the coach will pull play cards from their offense playbook, but when on defense, the coach will pull play cards from their defense playbook. Once selected, the given play cards are to be placed face down in the coach's given play card area during their given set phase. When discarding play cards, it is done horizontally above the scorecard once the play has been concluded. When it comes to that of the card's given name, it is located at the top of the card with the description screen found underneath it, which tells which side the ball and playbook the card is a part of, with green text indicating offense and red text indicating defense. This information is also found within a peek window that is located upon the back of the given play card, which helps the coach to organize their given playbook while face down. It also gives the opposing coach insight into what they can expect during the following play. The number found within the upper left-hand corner of the play card represents the play's given base zone reward, essentially telling how many zones the ball is to be advanced if the offensive play is successful. The number that is found within the upper right-hand corner of the play card represents the momentum reward that comes with said card, showing the amount of momentum said player is to receive if the play is successful. Regarding the symbols and numbers that are found along the left-hand side of the card, they represent the stats for the given play. With these stats, they consist of 7 basic stats that fall into one of 2 categories, passing and running. With passing, it consists of a short pass, mid pass, and long pass, which are represented by an S, M, and L, respectively, upon the card. When passing, it is risky but allows quick ball movement downfield. The play card's base zone for the passing play can't exceed the number of zones that are needed in order to reach the given end zone. If it does, then the pass is overthrown, making it incomplete and thus unsuccessful. This is known as the overthrown rule, and it doesn't apply to the success bonus of the play card. With running, it consists of a left, middle, right, and left pointing arrows, which are represented upon the card with a left arrow, middle arrow, right arrow, and left and right arrows respectively. When running the ball, although it might be slow, it can lead to a big play with a lot of zones being obtained if it's unexpected. When a card is set upon the game board, they're viewed vertically from the perspective of what side of the ball the coach is on and is done to visually display the counteracting moves each coach has performed. With the symbol found on the left-hand side of the middle bar, it indicates the play card type and it is played within its respective area of the game board. With the following text found upon the middle bar, it indicates if it's either an offense or defense subtype. And with the stars that are found upon the right side of the middle bar, it indicates the card's level, which runs from 1 through 4, with the 1-star cards being least effective and the 4-star cards being most effective. With a 1-star value, it represents a rookie. With a 2-star value, it represents a pro. With a 3-star value, it represents a veteran. And with a 4-star value, it represents a legend. When it comes to that of the success bonus results, also known as SBRs, they are found within the bottom half of the text box of the play card, and they represent additional rewards that are granted for going above and beyond the needed number for a given play to succeed. If the coach's final success number is equal to or greater than the indicated stat number, then said coach will receive the bonus that is detailed within the text box. It is worth noting that the overthrown rule doesn't apply to the SBRs unless it is specifically stated upon the card itself. Found upon the bottom left of the card is the artist's credit alongside copyright material, which is true of all cards found within the game. And found in the bottom right of the card is the card's collector number, which represents the card's unique number, which, again, is true of all cards found within the game. The collector number is used to help a coach organize their collection, as well as indicate the completion level of their collection, which is important due to Stadium being a collectible card game. With the nature of the defensive play cards, there are a few differences when compared to that of the offensive play cards. First, instead of possessing any zone rewards, the number found in the upper left-hand corner of the card is that of a crossed-out 0, which indicates that the play is dead and will end the round. Second, the play stats possess negative values instead of positive ones. And third, the upside-down stats represent weaknesses found in the defense with the numbers possessing positive values, which are gained by the offense. The reason why these stats are inverted is so that the opposing coach can easily read them. The play cards are also supported by the player cards, since without the players, the selected plays will have little chance of succeeding. During the play, a maximum of 22 players are able to be found upon the field at any given time, with 11 controlled by either team. With that said, only 2 players from both teams will be able to affect the result of a given play, and they are known as key players or playmakers. When placing a player card, it is done either face up or face down within its designated game board area during the coach's set phase turn. In addition to this, the player card type symbol will have to match the area that it is being placed into. On top of this, some player cards possess both card-type symbols, thus allowing said player to be placed into either game board area. On top of this, a coach is only able to have a single copy of any given player within play at any given time. With the player cards, they are able to remain in play and can only be discarded to the coach's discard locker under one of the following conditions. The in-play player card is replaced with another player card, a change in call possession, or another card instructs the coach to discard the player card. And if a coach notices that the opposing coach has mistakenly set a player card into a wrong area, then said coach can call out illegal set. This will cause said card to be immediately discarded, with the play continuing from there. With the player cards, it has its name found at the card's top, with only one copy of the card with said name being allowed within a given coach's pull deck. This reminds us of character selection for Transformers TCG, where the player is only allowed to select a single character with its own unique name for any given team. Found below the player's name is the description screen, which is printed in either green or red, indicating if it's offensive or defensive. With the team logo, it is found in the upper left-hand corner of the card, which indicates its team affiliation, which makes sense. Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a team logo now, would it? With the symbol that is found in the upper right-hand corner of the card, it indicates the region type that the player is able to obtain bonuses. Just like the play cards, the symbols and numbers that are found on the left side of the player card will indicate that player's given stats. And there are a total of 9 player stats that consist of the 7 standard stats and 2 special stats that fall under the special teams category. With the symbol found on the left-hand side of the middle card, it indicates the player card type, and it is played within the respective area of the game board. With the following text found upon the middle bar, it indicates the player's given position subtype. It is worth noting that the player positions will restrict the player card to a particular game board area, so it might be a good idea to keep that in mind when planning. The player card area symbols are also restricted to the set phase. When it comes to that of the player's given ability, it is found within the card's text box with the red and green phase symbols telling the coach which phase turn said ability can be used on. Regarding these special player skills, although they can be activated in a number of different ways, they can only be used once per face-up player card. With revealing abilities, they are indicated by the revealing symbol, and they are activated when a player card is flipped face-up during the hike phase. With constant abilities, they will always be active unless they are restricted to that of certain phases. And with trigger abilities, they are triggered by that of an action or a condition, and they cost momentum or cards in order to activate. When it comes to that of the upgrade cards, they consist of items, personnel, and developments that are able to either protect or enhance other cards. During the set phase turn, these cards are to be played face-up within the upgrade card areas of the game board and will typically cost momentum to play with this cost found upon the upper right-hand corner of the card. Many upgrade cards also possess a restriction to certain teams, positions, and/or sides of the ball, which is indicated in the upper left-hand corner of the card and description screen. With that said, only one upgrade card of a given name is allowed to be found within a coach's pull deck. When played, upgrade cards remain in play until they are either replaced or removed by another card. With the number that is followed by the abbreviation UV, it is the card's upgrade value, which is found on the bottom right-hand corner of the image box. This value represents the amount of momentum deducted from the cost of the next upgrade card that replaces it. This also extends to the same subtype. With that of the convert cards, it allows the coaches to transform the environment and field conditions into something that will better suit their given playstyle. They come in 5 regions, with each region having unique effects and influences. With these regions, they consist of stone, rain, plant, ice, and heat. Unlike other cards, convert cards are read horizontally instead of vertically. Only one of them can be played at a time, and it is placed between the coaches. When played, convert cards are placed face-up within the convert card area of the game board during the set phase turn. In order for a coach to play one of these cards, they will have to first pay its given momentum cost, which is found in the upper right-hand corner of said card. The convert cards region is found in its upper left-hand corner, and once played, any player cards that have the same region symbol will receive bonuses that will match their given stats. So the offensive player will receive positive numbers, while the defensive player will receive negative numbers. Convert cards will also remain in play until they are replaced. Another convert card is played by the opposing coach, or another card instructs a coach to remove it. From there, the initial convert card gets discarded. Like the upgrade cards, convert cards can reduce the cost of the card that replaces it with this convert value found in the bottom right-hand corner of the image box. With that said, the amount of momentum that is reduced from the listed convert cost will have to match the listed convert value regions that are played by either player. During the course of the game, a coach's tactical cards, also known as TAC cards, will assist the coach in developing their given strategic style along with how they will manage their given team. With the playing of TAC cards, they're done during various phases of a given coach's turn. What phase the TAC card will be able to be played in will be specified by the phase turn symbols that are found at the bottom of the card's text box. If no phase turn symbol is found, then said card can be played during any given phase. In addition to this, these cards aren't set on the game board. Instead, their effects are done instantly and then discarded once done. Since some TAC cards are team and/or situation specific, the coaches should be careful not to play the wrong card at the wrong time, or worse yet, the right card at the wrong time. When it comes to playing the game, both players will take turns over a number of rounds, which are known as downs because, this is a gridiron football-themed game, with each down consisting of 6 phases. With these phases, they consist of draw, down, set, audible, hike, and conclusion. With the main phases, they consist of the draw, set, hike, and conclusion phases, while the additional phases consist of the drop and audible phases, which will occasionally happen throughout the course of the game. At the start of the game, both coaches will draw 5 cards from their respective pull decks, which represent each coach's given hand. With that said, don't be like Bill Belichick and pull from the opposing coach's deck. At the start of each down, the coaches will simultaneously draw as many cards as they need so that they will have 5 cards found in their hands. As the actions just described imply, this is the draw phase of the game, and coaches are able to make room within their hand by discarding any number of cards before they draw from the pull deck, which is known as burning cards. Let's just hope that Salem doesn't hear about this metaphorical burning. When it comes to starting a drive, the ball is delivered to the field by the BERD, or Ball Entry Relay Device. This is known as the drop phase, and it is where the defense, known as the dropping team in this situation, drops the ball off to the offense, who is the receiving team. The receiving team is then to return the ball, which sees the receiving team trying to advance the ball towards the end zone of the dropping team. With the drop phase, it occurs in the following situations: at the start of the game, after a team scores, after halftime occurs, at the beginning of overtime, and when the offensive coach decides to end the drive and dead drop the back to the defensive coach. To initiate the drop phase, the dropping team will take the ball marker and decide to either drop off or onside drop the ball to the opposing coach. If the dropping team decides to drop off the ball, then the ball marker is to be handed off to the receiving team, where they have the option to either engage in a return or take the touchback. With a return, the receiving team can play face up, an offense player that possesses a drop-off stat. The dropping team can then counter by playing a defense player that possesses the drop-off stat. The difference between the combined stat total will equal how many 6-sided dice the receiving team is able to roll, with 5 being the maximum, regardless of the stat total. If the receiving team rolls a 6 upon any dice, then they have returned the ball to the opponent's end zone for a touchdown. But if no 6s are rolled, then the dice total determines how many zones the ball is to advance from the receiving team's end zone, representing where the drive is to begin. And if the receiving team doesn't play a player card, this is considered to be taking the touchback, where no dice are rolled and the drive will start in the receiving team's touchback zone. If player cards are played and the total is equal to 0, then the receiving team will start in their touchback zone. And if the total number of dice to be rolled is negative, then the drive will start that many zones behind the receiving team's touchback zone. It is worth noting that a negative dice drop return has the potential of resulting in a safety. With onside drops, although they're highly risky, they can be highly beneficial, and it consists of the dropping team trying to regain possession of the ball by catching the receiving team off guard by dropping the ball short. This is typically used by the team that is trailing on the scoreboard, but it can also be a game changer when used to surprise the opposing coach. In order to perform an onside drop, the ball is to be placed upon the onside drop zone found upon the receiving team's side of the field. From there, the dropping team rolls a 6-sided die, hoping for a 6. If unsuccessful, then the receiving team will take possession of the ball and begin their drive within this given zone. But if successful, then the receiving team will roll 5 6-sided dice in order to save the drop, needing only a single 6 to perform the save. If this roll is successful, then the receiving team will start their possession within their zone. But if it fails, then the dropping team will take possession of the ball in their zone instead when they start their drive. From there, the player cards found upon the game board are discarded. If a coach thinks they might turn the ball over, or they're unsure that they can successfully make a cipher goal attempt, then the coach can choose to dead drop the ball to the opposing team with the objective of landing the drop as close as possible to the opposing team's end zone. Although this can be done during any drive, it is typically done during the final down. To perform a dead drop, the ball marker is to be rotated, followed by all player cards currently on the game board being discarded. The coach that is now on defense will select up to 5 of the 6-sided dice to roll with the resulting die roll, determining the number of zones the ball lands from its current zone. The dropping team can also decide if any 6 results are to be a 6 or a 1. Once totaled, the ball is moved to the resulting zone with the receiving team now having the chance to return. When a dead ball is returned, the same rules are applied as a standard drop-off, but with a few differences. If the receiving team doesn't play a player card, it counts as a fair catch with no dice being rolled and the drive starting off where the ball has landed. But if player cards are played and the total equals 0, the ball is considered to be out of bounds, with the drive starting in the zone where the ball landed. But if the total number of dice rolled is negative, then the drive begins that number of zones behind where the ball has landed with a negative drive, dead drops, possibly resulting in a safety. In order to start a down, the coach found on offense begins with their set phase turn, where they have the opportunity to set cards upon the game board, with at least 1 card from the offense playbook deck being placed face down upon the play card area. The coach also has the option of placing an offense player card either face up or face down within the designated area. The upgrade and convert cards can also be set face up if the coach can pay the momentum cost. It is worth noting that only 1 player card with a given area symbol type can be played at any given time, even if multiple player cards can occupy multiple areas. Once completed, the offensive coach will announce set in order to end their turn. From there, the defensive player will go through the same process while using their defensive playbook deck and any defensive player cards. It is worth noting that once the momentum cost has been paid, upgrade and convert cards are able to be set, regardless of what side of the ball the coach benefits from. With the audible phase, it is optional and is to be skipped if not called by the offensive coach, with the hike phase then beginning. The audible can only be called by the defensive coach after the offensive coach has called one. It is also only able to be called once per any given down by either team. When using the audible, it is done when the offensive coach feels like the defensive coach's set cards are too much to handle, with the offensive coach swapping their face-down play card with another play card that is found within their playbook deck. Once done, the offensive coach will announce set, which will give the defensive coach the option to perform an audible as well. With the hike phase, it is where the action happens and sees the offensive coach announcing hike in order to start their given hike phase turn with the ball being snapped. From there, the offensive coach will then flip all of their card sets found upon the game board face up. They will then total their play cards' stat numbers along with any other supporting cards that are of the same stat. The play type and stat score total will be declared as a positive number, followed by the offensive coach's turn coming to an end. From there, it becomes the defensive coach's hike phase, who repeats the aforementioned process but declares their score as a negative number. The difference between the offensive and defense totals will equal the final success number of the given play. Once the final success number has been determined, it is time to conclude the play result. If the result is positive, then it rewards the offensive coach with the rewards listed upon their cards. But if the result is either 0 or negative, then it rewards the defensive coach with the rewards listed upon their cards. Found upon the bottom corner of the game board are the coach's standard momentum bonuses, which are to be added to the momentum rewards during the conclusion phase and are awarded for accomplishing certain feats during the game. To make things more interesting, experienced coaches can lay different momentum bonus cards over the standard ones before the game begins. With the offensive team, they will advance the ball, which is represented by the ball marker, by either passing or running it at least 5 zones during their 3 downs in order for them to receive a new set of 3 attempts and continue their drive. With the zone where a down begins, it is known as the scrimmage zone. When it comes to the target zone that is needed for a new set of downs, it is represented by the first down markers. Once reached, the first down markers are to be moved 5 zones away from the location where the ball ended its movement. When it comes to tracking downs, responsibility lies with both coaches. But with that said, the defensive coach has a greater interest in tracking what down it is, since they're looking for a turnover. To keep track of downs, the coach will simply move the ball marker to the next field column at the start of every down. With the burning of cards, a coach is able to discard any unwanted cards from their hand before drawing new ones, which is to be done at the beginning of the draw phase. So with that said, don't actually burn any cards, because doing so would be disadvantageous for the coach in the long run. It will undermine their card collection, and it poses a fire hazard. We also doubt anyone would actually want Fire Marshal Bill to show up and demonstrate his version of fire safety. Once a down has been completed, both coaches are to discard their used play cards into the clock chops. With all of the other cards, they can stay upon the game board unless the play results in a turnover. Both coaches will then begin the following down with a new draw phase, drawing cards as needed. At the end of a down, both coaches will discard their used cards face up, horizontal, and underneath one another, with only the top card being shown in an area above the scorecard, which is known as the clock chop, and it represents the game time. Once 10 offensive play cards are found between the two coaches, the first half of the game will come to an end. From there, the next 10 offensive play cards found between the coaches will have the game come to an end. Like that of Gridiron football, Stadium consists of 2 halves, with the transition between these halves being known as halftime, which sees all player cards found upon the game board being discarded, while the upgrade and convert cards remain upon the board. Both coaches will then return all play cards found in the clock chop back into their given playbooks. The team that started the game on defense will now receive the drop-off in order to begin the second half. At the end of the second half, the team with the highest score will win unless there is a tie. If the score is tied at the end of the second half, then the game goes into overtime with all of the play cards returned to the playbooks. From there, the player cards are to be removed from the game board, while the convert and upgrade cards remain where they are. A coin flip is to occur with the winner of the toss deciding if they want to either drop the ball or to receive. Gameplay is to occur as usual, with overtime being repeated if the game again ends in a tie. When it comes to a turnover, it occurs when the offensive team fails to reach the first down marker by their third attempt, their pass is intercepted, or the defending team performs a fumble recovery. Regardless, their drive will come to an end. If a turnover is to occur, then the play cards found upon the game board are to be discarded, along with all player cards being sent to their given team's discard locker, while the convert and upgrade cards remain in play. With the ball marker, it is to stay where it is, but is to be flipped. When it comes to the goal lines, they are represented by the last yellow lines found upon both ends of the field, with the zones found beyond these lines representing each coach's end zones. For a team to score, it is when they cross a goal line found at the opposing team's end zone and then entering said zone. With point scoring, it is recommended to use the scoreboard that comes with the base game, with the yellow cubes placed within the hollow spaces found below the zeros at the beginning of the game. When points are scored, the respective team is to move the cubes up the number of spaces equal to the number of points they just scored. With point scoring, they consist of the following. First, we have a touchdown, which occurs when a team crosses the goal line and enters their opponent's end zone while carrying the ball. Once completed, 6 points are rewarded to the scoring team, with the coach now deciding if they want to go for an extra point or a 2-point conversion. Second, we have an extra point, which is done after a touchdown, and it is attempted by a single player found on the scoring team who is to throw the ball through a cipher pulse, which consists of a series of expanding and contracting ring of orbs, and will add a single point to the team's score if successful. When attempted, the ball marker is to be placed upon the first zone, known as the extra point zone, from the opposing team's end zone. From there, the respective coach rolls 4 6-sided dice, aiming for at least a single 6 for the extra point to be successful. Third, we have a 2-point conversion, which consists of 1 additional down that sees the coach trying to score 2 additional points instead of 1. During this process, all of the usual downs are played, which is done from the conversion zone. If the offensive team reaches the end zone, then they score 2 additional points. It is worth noting that with 2-point conversions, they don't take time off the clock, causing any play cards that are used during an attempt to be returned to their respective playbooks. And fourth, we have a cipher goal, which sees the offensive coach being close enough to an end zone but uncertain about their chances of scoring a touchdown, causing them to attempt a cipher goal instead. With a cipher goal symbol, it is represented by a ring of dots found upon the field, with green cipher goal symbols favoring the offensive coach, while red cipher goal symbols favoring the defensive coach. They are also found running along the center of the gridiron, and the closer the offensive coach is to their opponent's end zone, the greater chance they will have at succeeding. Like that of an extra point attempt, a single player will try and throw the ball through the cipher pulse, granting the player 3 points if successful. This play also tends to be a last-ditch attempt by a coach to get some points on the board from a given drive. With cipher goal attempts, they can be done during any given down and anywhere upon the field. With a cipher goal attempt, the offensive coach will announce their intention on the current down. Most phases are played out as usual, but when it comes to the set phase, no play cards are set. The tallying of all cipher goal stats is done during the hike phase. Regarding the positive numbered cipher goal icons, they indicate the cipher goal ranges found upon the field. With whatever zone the ball is currently found in, it represents the number of dice the coach is to use for the attempt with a positive numbered cipher goal icons, indicating the cipher goal ranges found upon the field. With any zones that are found outside these ranges, allows the defense to use as a negative value towards this dice total. The difference found in these values will equal the amount of dice the offense will be able to roll. If a 6 is rolled upon any of these dice, then the throw is successful and they score 3 points. But if no 6s were rolled, then the cipher goal missed and no points are awarded. However, if the total amount of dice that offense is to receive for the attempt is equal to 0 or less during the hike phase, then the cipher goal attempt is blocked by the defense. Once an extra point or a 2-point conversion have been attempted, then all of the player cards found upon the board are to be discarded to their respective coach's discard locker, and the team that scored will go on defense and begin the drop phase. With a safety, it occurs when a team is forced into or is stopped within their own end zone while in possession of the ball. If this occurs, then the defense team will immediately score 2 points. From there, all player cards are discarded, but the ball isn't dropped off to the team that just scored. In order to win the game, it can be done in one of 2 ways. First, has one coach outscore the other before the clock chop ends the game. And second, one coach is to lead the game by 20 points or more at any given time during play. This is known as a thrash game, and it basically represents the implementation of the mercy rule. With all of that taken care of, we'd like to take a look at player positions. With a specific role that a player has on the field is known as their given position, with player positions, game board placement, and their roles during play consisting of the following. With the offensive players, these positions consist of signal, guardian, gunner, free guard, and smuggler. With the signal position, it is represented by a chevron with 3 dots found around it in an inverted triangle pattern. The signal is the team's offensive captain, and their main function is to pass the ball to the gunners, free guards, or the occasional smuggler. The signal is also responsible for engaging in the cipher goal attempts, so the signal is basically equivalent to the team's quarterback and place kicker. With the guardian position, it is represented by a chevron, and they do exactly what it says on the tin, to provide protection to the signal when performing plays. Otherwise, the signal will be cracked just like that of the Enigma machine, which was done by Alan Turing. They also aim to block any incoming tackles against smugglers. They're basically the offensive guard and offensive tackle. With the gunner position, it is represented by 3 dots arranged in an inverted triangle pattern and are the primary recipients of the plays performed by signals. Their primary function is to catch the pass and hopefully advance the ball closer to the end zone. They might also be responsible for drop returns during ball drop-offs. Think of them as being the wide receivers. With the free guard position, it is represented by a chevron, and it is an offensive hybrid of both the guardian and gunner positions. They primarily function as a blocker for that of smugglers, but have the capability to receive passes from a signal, so they can be seen as the fullback. Finally, with the smuggler position, it is represented by 3 dots arranged in an inverted triangle, and they are the primary ball carriers of the game, which is principally done through handoffs from the signal, who will rush the ball past the defenders. The smuggler will also perform the drop returns on the ball drop-offs and/or catching passes. They can be compared to that of the running back. With the defensive players, these positions consist of ender, infiltrator, jammer, sentry, and haven. With the ender position, it is represented by a chevron with 3 dots found around it in an inverted triangle pattern. The ender is the team's defensive captain, and their main function is to prevent runs and to punish smugglers for trying to do their job. They can also assist against that of short to mid-ranged passes. They can be compared to that of the middle linebacker. With the infiltrator position, they are represented by a chevron, and they focus upon doing what they can to stop runs and passes from being performed from the backfield by tackling either the signal or smuggler. They also do what they can to block cipher goal attempts. They can be compared to that of the defensive tackle and defensive end. With the jammer position, they are represented by 3 dots presented in an inverted triangle, and they do what they can to counter the gunner by trying to disrupt the incoming pass. They can also take on the role of countering side runs and drop returns. They can be compared to that of the cornerback. With the sentry position, they are represented by a chevron, and they assist in defending against runs and passes. They can be compared to that of the outer linebacker. And with the haven position, they are represented by 3 dots positioned in an inverted triangle and are the last line of defense against offensive plays. They do this by defending against mid-range and long passes, as well as doing what they can to block cipher goal attempts and to occasionally defend against drop returns. They can be compared to that of the safety. With that said, that is what you need to know in order to play the game Stadium, a Sport Odyssey. If you like this episode, feel free to give it a like. And if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes we upload, go ahead and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/checkpointgaming. See you in the next episode, and happy gaming.